Hi folks, my name is Ross. Welcome to my YouTube channel, East Coast DCC. Still don't know why I'm doing that. You'll see from the last video, things have moved on a bit. Since I did the last video, I have been concentrating on finalising the track plan for the back of the layout, as well as starting to do the finishing work on the boards that will make up the front of the layout along here. Where the traction maintenance depot will sit. So the reason for track planning was to work out where points were likely to go, so that I could make sure that point motors weren't going to be positioned where they would foul on a spar. So yeah, decided to go with the 2 spars in each of the boards as per the template over there. Then what I did was got the plastic wood, filled in the holes, all the screw holes on the top surface and on the edge surface, sanded them down with the old orbital sander with P80 paper and that. That gave a good finish. Then primed the edges with wood primer and then gave it a coat of gloss just to smarten it up a bit. And I think the boards will look quite good once the white legs are fitted back in. Once I'd done that, I then set about looking at how I was going to put the cork onto the top of the board, and that's the reason for this little template piece here. So basically I've got a 10-metre roll of 1 metre wide 2mm cork, which laying that out, cutting it to shape, and then I'm using a watered down PVA mix to glue that to the top of the board. Now, I started doing this last night and I did have a board here, I've taken out the way just now. I wasn't sure if I was going to get enough, if the liquid was going to soak into the cork enough. So I've given it a couple of applications, made sure everything was square and sitting nicely on the board. And then what I did was I used those spare boards, turned them upside down, laid them on top of the board just to put a bit of weight in it. Put a bit of plastic in between, because what I didn't want was the cork, the PVA glue coming through and sticking to the board that I put on top. Left that overnight. Didn't worry about it, thought I'd come back in the morning and see what it's like. With the template, basically what I did there was the same PVA mix onto this bit of scrap and then laid on the cork. Now, the bit here is just laid on to PVA. Here what I did was I then brushed about a 50-50 mix of PVA water onto the cork and allowed that to soak through. This is stuck okay, but there's still a wee bit lifting at the edge. This is really stuck well, and I think certainly for the front boards I'm going to do that. Now that on this board here, hopefully you can see that the cork sheet is stuck onto that. It has adhered nicely, but I think I'm still going to go over that with a PVA water mix just to make sure it's bonded properly and it seals. And I think that might also help when I'm coming to paint up the scenic section. It should take the paint a bit better having been primed. So once the cork's on, obviously I can then start thinking about final track positioning and point motors. I don't know if you can see down here, move this out of the way. Don't know if you can see here, I have drawn out on the boards the approximate position of the track, and I've also detailed down this section here. This curve has got a number of curved points, which is going to allow me to swap between mainline tracks and also get over into this side of the fiddle yard. Aha, you're saying once you put your cork on top you're not going to see that, are you? No, I know, good point. Hence the master plan, which has got all the various components marked out on it. Not exactly, it's to scale, but it's not an engineering drawing. And that will give me the correct sequence of components when I start to build it back up. My intention is to focus on the front section first. I've got a kind of ground point or a starting point, reference point, point motor drilled in this board. I've got measurements for that on here, so once that point motor's in place I can start building the TMD out along this way into the curves, and then I can get the fiddle yard at the back sorted out. So again, I'm not going to go into, you probably can't see that too well, but basically you've got your main line up, your main line down, and then there's a number of sidings either side. A lot of thought gone into that. I'll probably do a bit on that separately. So yeah, that's where we're at. So next job is to get the cork sheet put onto this board. This is ready to go. I need to put the PVA wash onto that board and the other board that's sitting out the side there. Do the same with this one once the initial application of glue has gone off, and then I'm going to fill all the holes. Again, I don't know if you can see the screw holes in the surface. You'll be able to see the screw holes in the edge. Fill them with plastic wood, leave them overnight, sand them, prime it, gloss on the sides. Job hopefully will be a good one. Are we going to do a time lapse on this? I don't know. I'll film the time lapse and see what it looks like. If it's boring, I'll not put it in. But basically that's where we're at. So hope you're enjoying this, and yeah, I'll get on with putting the cork sheet onto the board here. And the magic of time lapse, here's one I prepared earlier, and amazingly, still only 10 to 2. Right, so I'm going to keep the time lapse in. I think it looks okay. Oh, hello Mr. Swallow. I got a couple of swallows' nests up in the roof of the garage here. You might have heard them in some of the other videos. I'm fine until they make a mess on the baseboards. But anyway, we're living happily together at the minute. This is one of the ones I did yesterday, other board here. So as I say, the cork is stuck down to this quite nicely, but I think it's just going to be a bit better by sealing it with the PVA wash. So I've got some PVA wash left over from doing the previous board there, so I'm now going to just soak the top of this basically to make sure that this cork is bonded nicely to the baseboard below. So there you go folks, that's the first board primed with the PVA wash. Probably just leave that there to dry overnight. Hope the swallows don't have any comments to make on it. I'll get on with the other one now. So once I finish that, I said before, next job is fitting the rest of the spars into the backboards, bit of plastic wood, sand, prime, paint, and then I'll repeat the cork process. See how things go. Not sure when I'm going to film the next bit, because let's face it, this is a bit like watching paint dry or PVA glue. Thanks again folks, see you again, bye now.